Ladies and gentlemen, today's story is like a grand dog sled race. Are you ready for some surprises? The rich guy thought he was all that and intimidation was his game, but the hidden reporter had had enough and warned him to back off from Will. Will's remarkable resilience made the reporter reconsider, and now that things were finally quiet, Will flopped down like he requested the reporter to waken him in 3 hours. Upon hearing this, the reporter immediately panicked, but eventually had to reluctantly agree. Tomorrow was the big day, and the other competitors were too nervous to sleep, but only relaxed when they heard Will was already snoring. 2 hours flew by, and the reporter yelled for ages to wake Will, but lo and behold, he was as cold as a popsicle and couldn't even stand. The dream was just a step away. He had to overcome every obstacle and not let anything throw off his groove, especially since this was a highly dramatized showdown. This competition was packed with hopes and dreams, and with the reporter's help, Will slowly started to come around. He thought about leaving Gus behind to lighten the load, but Gus roared back with not a chance. And thus commenced the epic showdown, as if the great battle was about to unfold. Gus protested, gazing at Will with his innocent puppy eyes, a sight that almost made the reporter burst into tears. Will and Gus blew the starting whistle in the dark, though the melody was his own. News of Will's departure shot to the rich guy, who freaked out and leapt off the train to rally people to chase after Will. He announced a stunning bounty. Whoever catches Will gets an extra $2,000, and the competitors swarmed out of the rest up like bees. The decisive moment arrived. In the dark woods, the night trail was tricky. Some crashed into trees, but Will navigated the darkness like a pro, as if he had become one with the night. However, as dawn broke, his disadvantages started showing, and without his lead dog, his pace began to falter. Competitors surged past, making Will's efforts vanish in an instant. Despair crept in his heart, and he couldn't help but stop, allowing helplessness to swell within him. At the finish line, everyone was holding their breath, and his mother and Uncle Ned had arrived, though they weren't sure if they'd witness Will cross. And there was Berg, creeping up with a devilish grin, saying, "I know a shortcut, you brave enough to follow." Will hesitated, but eventually followed, coming upon an unfrozen rapid where the water surged wildly like a volcano. The river was even more treacherous than the one his father faced, and Will started to feel uneasy. Just then, Gus Box shattered the silence, and Will remembered Uncle's words from Farewell Day. Face your fears with Gus barked wildly as he moved forward, seeming to summon Will to conquer the icy river and his innermost fears. For his mother's hopes, and to follow in his father's footsteps, Will pushed through barriers, while Berg was having a much worse time. Under his relentless urging, the dogs revolted, and he ended up getting bitten by his own. Will passed by, sending a snowfall scare to drive off the bad dogs, giving Berg a narrow escape. They had less than 3 kilometers to the finish. Under Gus' lead, they sped up even more, reigniting hopes of a comeback, while the staff spotted the competitors through the telescope. Staff scribbled the leading name on the board. It was Indian Racer K, and Will's mother felt her heart sink with worry. Just when everyone thought the race was concluded, Will burst out of the woods like a shooting star. He was not only keeping up, but was leading Curry by an astonishing 800 meters. In that moment, everyone surged up, witnessing Will's name shining on the board as the crowd erupted into deafening cheers. In this grueling 6-day competition, Will had already become a hero in everyone's eyes. As they gazed at Will, time seemed to freeze. His heart felt as quiet as a library. Will's mother surged through the crowd, but halted halfway, realizing this was Will's fight. Will struggled to get up, but fatigue had him in a chokehold while Uncle Ned struck up his father's melody. The crowd's anticipation converged at this precise moment, fueling Will's determination to defy all improbabilities. Sure enough, with the dogs banding together, they pulled the greedy Will to his feet. The crowd erupted, as if he was entering an epic showdown. Everything was centered around Will, and the audience felt as if they were at a punk rock concert. Today, this wasn't just a simple win. It was a celebration of faith and support, and the unsung heroes behind it all were crucial. The determined and steel-hearted young boy gave it his all in the sprint, and ultimately emerged victorious in the race, filling the venue with thunderous cheers in an instant. Don't forget to click and subscribe. His mother excitedly embraced his son, witnessing him fulfill his father's dream and secure their farm. He etched a miracle in history, forever replacing the title of coward with the glory of a warrior. Life is like an endless dog sled race. The courage in our hearts drives us forward. We're all runners on this long journey, and challenges are unavoidable. But real courage isn't momentary pride, it's standing tall in adversity. Like Will, we all have an unbridgeable glacier in our hearts, be it poverty or loneliness.